We're out and about on a beautiful morning in Lancashire here in the UK. The sun is already high in the sky. The light is coming through the trees. It's green and lush and beautiful and throwing silhouettes all over the path in front of me. There's hardly a breeze. It's cool at the moment, but it's going to be a warm day. And we will see a few people. We will greet people along the way. And every reaction we get is slightly different. Isn't it funny how people, you can almost build a picture, build a scenario of someone's life in that brief moment, in that brief few seconds you get when you approach someone on a path and you greet them, or not, as we will come to, and then they pass their way and you've already built this picture. You know what they do for a living, you know how happy they are in life, you know what hobbies and pastimes they do, all with a brief interaction. And this is the wonderful thing about us, and this is the wonderful thing about people. This is the wonderful thing about getting out and about and meeting people, because nobody is the same. And that goes for how you react to people. We react, I hope, in a friendly, open kind of way, but not everyone does. And that isn't because there's anything wrong with them. That's just because they are the person they are. And they may be the most beautiful person in the world, but they may be the person who does not want to say hello to you. Yes, in seconds, as you approach someone, as you look at them as they're coming towards you, you can form a picture of them, the job, even what music they like to listen to, what books they read, what hobbies they do, whether they've got a family, whether they're on their own. You can actually form all these opinions. They may not be accurate, but they're there, and it's what we all do. We actually do it. I think we do it without actually realising we do it. You do it off the clothes they wear. They come walking towards you, dressed, obviously at the weekend, dressed in clothes that should have been binned years ago, but are still comfortable. And they keep putting them on as they get more and more threadbare, because they just feel so homely and nice and comfortable and comforting and familiar. And that is a kind of a personality trait. So you can make opinions, you can form opinions just off the clothes they're wearing, what kind of person they are. What kind of person wears clothes that just are falling off, just look comfortable, they're threadbare, it's someone who is comfortable in their own skin, in my opinion. And then you get approached by someone who is obviously been at work all week in the office and comes out, but they've still got the office attire on without the tie. They have the same trousers, they may have a pair of walking shoes on, but apart from that, they've got the normal shirt that they go to work tucked into the trousers, and they're walking towards you, and they look a little bit less relaxed, a little bit less comfortable, a little bit more cautious, a little bit more on guard. And you can form all these opinions literally in seconds, and then you approach them, and what happens? You can tell so much by the body language. They come towards you, open posture, completely at ease, not closed in at all, big smile, ready smile. You can actually feel them when you approach them. You can feel them looking at you in the anticipation of a salutation, in the anticipation of saying, hello, how are you? It's a great morning. Or you can get towards them and they look away. They're avoiding contact. They don't seem as confident. Perhaps they aren't used to being in relaxed atmospheres with people who don't ask anything of you, don't expect anything of you. You're just there to pass the day as human beings. And they avert their eyes and come towards you, and they turn away, the posture changes. And this has happened to me all the time. I remember once when I was in the Lake District many years ago, and I was coming down from Coniston Old Man, and there were a group of people in front of me, all with absolutely brand new hiking clothes on and walking clothes, and came towards me. And they obviously, they weren't me. They weren't from my social background. I could tell that they didn't, they came past and scowled at me. Came past because I was there and I would been clothes that were absolutely knackered, boots that were knackered, that I'd worn for many years up in the Lake District, and they like scowled at me. And as I passed them, I kind of looked back, and I must have looked forward and shook my head, because there was an old chap coming towards me who was about 80 years old. And as he passed me, he said, "Don't worry, lad, they're not gradely folk like us." Meaning, don't worry, they're not good people like us. They're not like normal people, normal friendly people like us. And it's that caution and it's that social interaction that is so different from individual to individual. You approach somebody, and like I say, you can detect that smile, and you can detect that anticipation of a greeting. They're looking forward to saying hello. And that hello up here, or in England and the UK, is nothing more than, "You all right?" And it doesn't even have to be, "You all right?" It just, up here, it's no more. It can be just a, "Hey, all right, Rick." And that's it. And everybody knows what you mean. Everybody's, and that, in that little one syllable, there's a whole greeting. "Good morning, how are you? Nice to see you. Have a wonderful day. Happy to be, I'm so glad I met you this morning." All in one small salutation. You even say hello to the dogs, because of course you do. Because the dogs are always friendly, and the dogs will always remember you next time. No matter what the gap in time is, the dogs will always remember you and come over to you with a wagging tail, knowing that they're going to get a nice greeting. And I wish humans were a bit more like that. Is it a regional thing? I don't know. I mean, up here in the industrial northwest and the Midlands and going up northeast, we kind of, I think we have a little bit of a humbleness about us, because we are part of William Blake's Dark Satanic Mills from the poem Milton, a line that was later used in Jerusalem, which is accepted as England's unofficial national anthem. Is it that? Is it our humble beginnings? I remember when, I'm old enough to remember when I came from a mill town and a cotton mining town, and we used to come up Rivington then when I was a kid and look down, and you could never see the town. All you could see were the pit chimneys, the mill chimneys and the pitted gear sticking up above the smog and the muck and the scum that lay above the town. But it was a beautiful, friendly place. It was very austere. Just pitmen going to work in the morning, mines everywhere. Everywhere was mills. I used to walk home along the canal at the side of the mills, and there was always a smell that came out of the vents in the mills. And we used to jump on working barges on the way to work, to school, and they'd drop us off. We'd jump off again near the school. And it was a very humble working class beginning. And I wonder whether that has something to do with our openness and friendliness. I don't know. There is a great north-south divide. And everybody in the south is supposed to be cold and aloof and unfriendly. I don't know. I've met plenty of people from the south and they all seem to be just like we are for the most part. You go down to the southwest and you meet somebody out there and they may say hello to you, but you won't be able to understand a bloody word they say because they're Cornish and they have their own language and their own flag and they want to be their own country and they drink lots and lots of cider. So it's quite obvious you're not going to be able to understand the word they say. And again, I've got friends down there and I've spent time down there and I've drank plenty of cider with them down there, and they are a different breed of people. I think those brief greetings we exchange continuously, all the time, without thinking about it, without it really registering with other people. Longer conversations make an impact. Longer conversations give you more opportunity to evaluate what the other person's like. Well, these brief encounters, this quick hello, they speak volumes for us, don't they? When you approach someone in the countryside, on the street, and the posture as they reach you is open or it's guarded. They turn towards you or they turn away. There's a smile on the lips just waiting. There's a sparkle in the eye just waiting. They almost want you to engage in more conversation than just a brief salutation. They want to have a bit of a chat, and that's great as well because they've got so much to say about what's happening in the life and what's happening in the day and what's happening in the countryside. And that's great, and I love that. And the dogs are always friendly. The dogs are always black Labradors for some reason or other, and they try to eat everything in sight. And then you come across the people who are reticent and they turn their eyes. You can look at them. You can say hello to them. You can say, all right, to them, morning, to them, and they will stare at you briefly as if you've gone into the house and weed on the kids' Christmas presents. They just stare, they give you that look of indignation as if to say, do you know who I am? Who do you think you are talking to me? And we judge. And we judge on that, don't we? We judge on that brief interaction. I do when they walk past. What I generally do, if I catch somebody's eye and they don't want to say hello, I wait till they're almost past me. Then I go, good morning. And you can hear them go, oh, good morning, because they've been caught out, just for fun. Nothing nasty, just for a bit of fun. But we meet people constantly and we never think about it and we never see them again, but we form opinions of them. I've done that. I've kind of had a brief, and it may be just 2 or 3 words with an old chap in a shabby old coat out in the countryside, and he's bent over and he's crooked and he's got an old dog with him that's as old as Molly, and I say good morning to him and the sunlight beams out of him. And he had a big smile, and he always says, morning lad. They always call you morning lad as if they're older than everybody else on the planet. And they chuckle. There's a chuckle at the back of their voice. And they are wonderful, wonderful people, and I love meeting them. And they go on the way, and you walk away with a smile on your face. Don't you walk away thinking, wow, that was nice. What a nice interaction that was. And then you get people who don't want to do that, people who just want to get on with the day. But you tend to be able to build the scenario, and the scenario you build tends to be quite accurate. They're closed in. They dress as if they aren't that relaxed about things. And we judge them, and we shouldn't judge people. They're probably the nicest people in the world, but we do as humans. We tend to judge each other, even when we don't want to. Even when we say, I'm not judgmental, and I say that all the time, but I think subliminally, subconsciously, we judge others, and we judge others against ourselves, which is a human trait and not a very clever trait, is it really? We judge others by ourselves. And does that mean that we actually think that we are a yardstick, a moral yardstick that everybody should be judged by? Good grief. Let's hope not. because that would be the height of arrogance, wouldn't it? But it's nice, the brief encounters, the little hellos. You don't really want to spend time stopping and chatting too much, but you tend to, because if you see these people more and more on a regular basis, you get to know them. You get to know the dogs. You get to expect to see them. You get to be a little disappointed when you don't see them. That's great, isn't it great? Isn't human interaction great? Some people want it, so give it. Some people don't, so let it go. Let them go. They might be fine, they might be grizzly old buggers, but you just have to let them go. It's their life, it's not yours. They will live it as they want, and they will get home feeling just as fulfilled as you did. Well, just let it go. I've just been proven right. I've come across a chap there walking towards me with his 2 walking sticks clicking along the ground. And I glanced across as we passed and he was looking straight at me. And I went, "Morning." And his mouth was slightly open and he looked at me and just stared at me as if I'd threatened him, and then just carried on clicking his walking poles. There you go. Case in point. But that's up to him. If he wants to say hello, it's a free country, it's a free world. He doesn't have to say hello. But I immediately built up a picture of him, his life, his wife, his kids, his job, his hobbies, his drinking habits, his sexual proclivities, his political proclivities. I've built up a scenario, and I didn't want to, but it's what we do. It's what we do as humans, because every situation we come across, we build a scenario about it. If you're walking across the road and the car coming towards you fast, you say, if I stand here, this is what I'm going to look like as I cartwheel through the air with a load of broken limbs. We do it without thinking about it. We can't do anything. Don't judge people because they build up scenarios in the mind about people they come across in the landscape, because it's what we do, because it's part of our fight or flight instinct, isn't it? We think, is this threatening? What do I do? Where can I go? Loop round, escape, attack. What do I do? And it's just that on a small scale. So I've built up, and he was shortish. Probably shouted at his kids and his wife, probably had a boring job, probably had a boring diet, probably had a boring life. And that's the scenario I built up, and I didn't want to, but I did, because I'm human, because we're all human. And great. Human interaction is great. Judging people is great. Actually, judging people is great as long as you don't act on it. Judging people is fine as long as you're judging them in your own head. As long as you aren't saying, hey, you, or going on social media and telling people about specific people. And I met this bloke and he came from 13 Blog Street and his phone number is. As long as you don't do things like that, build up scenarios in your head, because it's amusing. This is what life is. Life is an amusing place to be, isn't it? Because this is what we do constantly. Our mind's working constantly. Judging the landscape, judging the people, judging the scenarios we find ourselves in, going into a shop, looking round at the other customers and thinking, he looks like a wrong, and is he going to start pinching us? Look at him. Look at him. Hasn't he had a wash this morning? But we don't say anything and we go about our day, and it's fabulous. And it's fabulous being a human, and it's fabulous being judgmental, and it's fabulous out here in the countryside, and it's still cool. And Molly's still loving it. So we're going to stay out for a bit longer until Molly stops loving it. Then we're going to go home and have a slice of that lovely loaf that I made yesterday afternoon. I bet you wish you got a loaf that I made yesterday afternoon. Have a great week, people. And we shall see you on the flip. Peace and love. Morning.